Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirits. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you for tuning in for another very interesting deep dive of a show this week, as I'm excited to be joined by my co-host, Kristina Bloom. And in actual fact, in this week's episode, we're going to be discussing the topic of what's time got to do with it. Also in this week's show, we have the forecast reading, which will hopefully help you navigate your way through the twists and turns of this week ahead. So without further ado, let me introduce my amazing co-host all the way from Wisconsin in the USA, Kristina Bloom. How are you doing?
I'm very well, and thank you for such a nice introduction. That was wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, bless you. You're too kind. How have you and how have you been? What you been up to?
I have been doing a few events here and there, and took the weekend off, went to visit some family, had some fun, went to a women's professional volleyball game. So that
Oh,
was new.
do you know what? I'd like to watch that.
Yeah.
I say that rubbing my thighs.
Uh-huh. I'm sure you do. Those are some incredible athletes, I tell you. They are amazing.
That's the way that I would mark that up, being sat in
Yeah.
the audience. Look at that
Yeah.
athlete there. Look at her
Yeah.
moving. Wow, that sounds
Wow.
fascinating.
It was fun. Yeah.
Excellent. And have you been doing any other events as well since I last spoke to you?
I've got 4 more events coming up this month. So,
Whoa.
yeah, 4 more weekends, 4 more events. So very
Wow.
excited about that. Yep.
Excellent. Well, we'll dive a little bit deeper with you before we finish our recording
Okay.
today.
Yeah.
You can tell the audience more about that, but we're going to be discussing as we collaborated, as we always do on our conversations.
Right.
And we came up with the title, What's Time Got to Do with It? So we're going to be talking about that. And I'm sure all of the listeners are scratching their heads and thinking, well, what the heck are they going to talk about with this subject?
It's always an interesting thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. We
Yeah.
like to keep people on their toes, don't we?
We sure
So,
do.
first of all, time, what's time got to do with it? We all make these excuses, don't we? No matter what age we are, no matter where we're at in our life, where we're overwhelmed, we're doing too much, or we don't want to do too much. We use that classic excuses. I haven't got time.
Yes.
We all use it,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a case of managing that time, isn't it? And making the best of those moments.
Yeah, it really is. I know that I've used that excuse. I know other people use that excuse too. I just don't have time. It's really a choice, isn't it? Like, what are we going to make time for? What are we going to prioritize and make time for? Because time is the most precious resource we have.
It is definitely.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer of multitasking. And I say this to students, friends, anybody that's willing to listen, that when people say, I've got this problem in my life, got that problem in my life, I haven't got time for me. And I always say, well, you visit the smallest room in the house at least on average twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
You must do. So within that, typically 5 minutes, potentially, if you're struggling in that department, it could be 15.
Boy, you're on a roll today.
In that time frame. Why not multitask? You can have the inner conversations. You can reflect on how you're feeling emotionally. And also you can do a little bit of a meditation. Maybe that will help you evacuate a lot smoother than perhaps what you have been doing.
There you have it. There you go.
Multitasking. We
Yes.
have the time. So let's move this topic on a little bit further. Multi-sensory beings.
Yeah.
Would you like to expand on this one? I'm going to
Yeah,
throw
I
you under the
would.
bus.
We are multisensory beings, right? We see, we hear, we feel, we touch, we experience different things based on our five senses or our six senses, because we all have a sixth sense, whether we're aware of it or not. So the multisensory comes in where we can experience two things simultaneously, right?
Hmm.
Does that make sense to you? Okay. So I'm
Yeah,
headed in the right direction here. Right.
doing well.
So it's sort of like your multitasking example that you just gave, right? So you can
Okay.
experience peace and release at the same time.
Very tactfully put. I like it. Who's on a roll now?
Yeah,
A
right.
toilet roll.
A toilet roll. There you go.
Boom, boom.
We have just went, yeah. But because we have multi senses, we can experience time in different ways. Like, um, I remember sitting in school as a kid and watching that clock on the wall, that analog clock on the wall.
Oh,
And man, those last 5 minutes move so slowly. But whenever I was in a doing something I loved, a class that I liked, or even lunch period, or as a younger child, recess, those times went really fast.
yeah, I agree.
So
When you're
it's
having fun.
perception.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's perception. And now that I said that, I mean we have a big schedule for when I come to England. And we both know it's going to be a lot of fun, but maybe we should tone the fun down so it lasts a little longer.
Uh, yeah. 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 It's going to go really quick. We're really
Yeah,
cracking the whip with that project, aren't we?
we are, and I'm
Um,
so excited about it. We can't talk about it yet, but I'm very excited about it.
yeah.
But really, it's multisensory has a lot to do with time perception. So
Mm.
there's, that's the way I see it. How do you see it?
Yeah. I like that, how you've arrived at that destination. Yeah, I would say, we can be in multiple places at one time. So, like you say, we can be in that classroom, like the story that you've just shared, and we can be there daydreaming, looking out the window. We're there in the physical. We don't want to be there. I know when I was growing up at school,
Yeah.
I was there in a maths class or whatever, geography, and I really was bored to death. In my head, I was playing Wembley Stadium behind my drum kit, and I was having the best time sat in this
Yes.
maths class. So, we choose where we want to be, where we focus
Right.
our attention is
Mm-hmm.
going to be the experience, isn't it, that we latch onto, so to speak. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I got through my school and education. I was playing drums at Wembley Stadium in my head, or I was
I
printing
love it.
T-shirts. I wasn't there. my
Yeah.
my attention wasn't there, so to speak. And I'm so glad it wasn't, because I don't think I'd have learnt very much anyway if it was there. I learnt more out of school than I did in. That's
Oh,
my
definitely.
experience.
Yeah, me
Well,
too.
having said
Definitely.
that, this takes me on to another line of questioning. Um, there's something that we're all taught in school through parents, through our ancestors there, about time, and you've got to manage your time, and you've got to do this, and this is what happens when you reach 18 or 21. That's the general consensus. Well, I want to delve deep with this. Where did the concept of time come from? Who said, that this minute is 60 seconds, and who arrived at that destination? Who marginalized time in that way?
That's a good question. I probably should
Mm,
have researched that.
me too. That's why I'm throwing you under the bus again.
You're getting way too good at throwing me under the bus. I'm just
Well,
saying.
you're a willing volunteer, so why not?
I am a willing volunteer. I don't know where the concept of time came from. I
Hmm.
think it came, well, intuitively, I think it came from, way back in the caveman days, right? We were awake
Yeah.
during the day, we slept at night. We conserved our
Yeah.
energy when it was cooler. We were out hunting and gathering and doing whatever it is we had to do when it was warmer during the day. And then as things progressed, and I don't know where that leap is because I don't remember, even though I love archaeology, I don't remember where is that leap from caveman to society to you have a job, you have to be here at a certain time, right?
Do you know what? I think you've hit something rather remarkable with that line of inquiry. And what I mean by that, there's many theories that suggest that actually that leap is where potentially some of these cave dwellers, these people didn't evolve. They actually sort of fizzled out as a species, and a human point two, shall we say, was installed onto the planet, and it was from that version, Homo sapien, is that the correct
Yeah.
term? It was from that version that we developed that intelligence, and this is where the jobs and the time and things started to occur. So I think that is a show in itself, what you
Yeah,
just
I
mentioned
think
there.
that is. And
Mm.
um, when we started letting time control us, is that really intelligent? I'm just throwing it out there.
No, yeah, yeah. I think it's all about control, isn't it? And
It
about
is.
keeping us small.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think in a lot of ways it is, and that you look at different people, and of course this is probably part of that other show you just mentioned, but some people really thrive on going to work, knowing when they're going to go, when they're going to be done, when they're going to be home, how much they're going to be paid. Some people really thrive on that. People like you and me, we don't thrive on that. We thrive on what can I create and how many people can I touch.
Yeah. Although having said that, because I'm a stubborn Capricorn, there's a part of me, facet of me, that likes order out of the
Hmm.
chaos, that likes to know where I stand, that likes ritualistic behaviors. Um, yeah, I've got a leg in both camps on that one, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
um, but yeah,
yeah. It is interesting though, because people thrive in different environments, and I never thrived working for someone else because I was always thinking about, I always had a business on the side, right? So I was always
yeah,
thinking about doing what I needed to do for my business, and I really wasn't all that concerned about their business. I showed up, I put in my time, I went home, and then I worked on my stuff. So,
I get where you're coming from. I
yeah,
completely align with what you're saying.
right. So
Um,
it's kind of like you in school, not hearing the teacher, but your mind is in Wembley Stadium, as you said, playing your drums.
yeah,
So for me, working for somebody else was always like, well, I'm here, I'm putting in my time, but my brain is working on something else.
yeah, I get that. I did that a lot at work because I was managing the band I was playing in, getting gigs and
Hmm.
uh, what do you call it, recording sessions and all of this. And I was doing that whilst being in a full time job. So
Yes.
it
Yeah,
keeps you going though, doesn't it?
it
Particularly when
does.
you can do the job standing on your head,
Right.
and it just frees you up to multitask, like we've been talking about earlier.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
I love that. I love that that's the kind of person I am though, because um I don't do well building somebody else's dream unless it's like a collaborative effort, and
yeah.
working for somebody else is never really collaborative. So
That's it. They always go on the 4 holidays a year whilst you're still clocking in at work
yeah, exactly.
to pay for their 4 holidays a
To
year.
pay for
Yeah,
their fall holidays a year,
yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So is that how we let time control us?
Um, I don't know. I think that's a societal thing where you touched upon it earlier, where we get up, we kind of controlled to think we get up, we have to go to work to pay the bills, to live. We need to live to work. We need to work to live. And it's that never ending cycle, isn't it? So
Hmm.
I don't know necessarily if that's time, but time is factored into it to maybe install that element of fear to say, well, your value is measured by your time that you place
Mm-hmm.
in. And,
Yeah.
we can work out your hourly rate, whatever, by the value. But everybody's got a different perception on their value,
Mm-hmm.
haven't they?
They
Some
do.
out of need, others out of greed.
Right.
So yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah. The
But
other thing, I think the other way that we let time control us is, um, how do I put this? There's no delicate way to say it. As we get older, we realize we're not going to live forever. So we're letting time kind of control, like, what am I going to do now? How am I going to live my life from this point forward? And um, I think that that's something that we do too. So many people work for 40, 50 years to
mm,
plan for retirement. And it's like, well, I just have to hold on until I'm 70 or whatever it is. Apparently that's what they're trying to raise it to here. So, you know, people are like, all right, but once I get there, then I'll have all the time in the world. And mm,
yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah, maybe,
definitely.
maybe not. Some people do really well with that and some don't.
Um, you know, uh, yes, definitely. Yeah, talking about that, I would say, live for now, live for the moment, embrace every nanosecond. Again, that's related to time, isn't it?
Hmm.
Or every experience you encounter. And yes, there is that perception that you retire at a certain age. However, I was told by my guides a few times now, I'm often reminded by it that when you actually work for the light and you work with spirit, you don't retire.
Exactly.
You're
I will
always
never
working.
retire.
You're
Yeah.
always working and you're working with the light. And the feeling I get, they haven't said this, but just the feeling I get that when you choose, obviously it's your choice to whether to work with the light or not, or work with spirit or not. But the minute you take your foot off the gas with them, then that's when your life starts to crumble slightly
Hmm.
and things start to, go out of shape in your life. And it's because you're not living in harmony and resonance with your purpose.
Right.
So I've kind of, quite a while ago now, put my hands up and said, okay,
I
okay, how may
surrender.
I serve? Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's interesting. We're slightly going off topic, slightly. But yes, anyway, let's move on with this conversation. Talk about,
Can I just add one more thing to that because I don't feel like we
oh,
went off topic. I
okay,
feel
of
like
course.
it's a choice of how we use our time. And are we going to use our time to serve the purpose we came here to serve, or are we going to use this lifetime to go to work, pay the bills, and die? There's a choice
Yes, I see
in
what
how
you're
we use
saying.
the
Yeah.
time.
Live in enslavement.
Yeah.
Although, I'm not judging by saying this, but a lot of people don't realize that they are enslaved
Hmm.
into this loop, this
Right.
trap. Um,
It's a time trap. It's
mm,
what it is. It's a time trap. And it's a soul trap in my world, but that's just my opinion.
I mean, I find it fascinating the fact that we're the only species on Earth that has to pay to live here.
Right.
How bonkers
Exactly.
is that? It's like, what? I was born here. You don't see giraffes paying rent, do you?
No, you don't. And yet we somehow consider ourselves the most intelligent.
Yeah, so something's gone amiss at some point, hasn't it?
Yeah, I agree. I
Definitely.
agree. All right. Sorry. I just wanted to toss that last little piece in there because
No, I'm glad you
how we
did.
spend our time determines the quality of our life.
Mm, definitely. What brings us joy.
Hmm.
So, moving on, talking about time skips,
Yeah.
and I think I've mentioned this before, but I'll let you go first.
Okay.
Because you have something to tell the audience about your experience of time skips, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I don't know how many people listening really have any grasp on how large the United States is as far as acreage. It's very, very large. I now live in the Midwest, but I used to live on the West Coast of the United States. And that drive back and forth is typically a 4-day drive. So,
Saddle sore or what?
oh, if you could see the look on his face when I said that, like, ouch, that hurts. But it's typically a 4-day drive if you're driving like 8 to 10 hours a day. Um, so just driving across one state, Montana, from east to west or west to east, either way, there are two highways, I-90, Interstate 90 and Interstate 94. Both of them take about 17 hours to drive across Montana. Okay. So you look like you're in pain when I say these things.
Well, I can't imagine sitting in a tin box for that long and you're behind the steering wheel doing the work. It's like,
But that's just the drive time. I mean, you can't drive 17 straight hours. First of all, you'll run out of fuel. But other than I would not be able to. I get out and walk around every few hours, just because of being kind to my body. But the 17-hour drive time, um, there was one trip where I made it across Montana without breaking the sound barrier in 11 hours.
what?
I still don't know how that happened. I don't know where those other 6 hours went. But I always watch the time because I'm like, oh, here's the long trek, right? It wouldn't matter, but Montana to one border to the other, and yeah, I somehow managed to cross Montana in 11 hours. I don't know if I hit a time warp, a portal, what happened. Oh, and what do they call those worms? Black hole or whatever.
Oh yeah, wormholes. Yeah.
Wormhole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I don't know what happened. I know that it happened in 11 hours rather than 17 hours. Um, on a different note, I'm just going to share a cute story because my kids are cute. So I had my 6-year-old in the back seat, and he's like, for forever. And this was on a different trip, so it wasn't the trip where
Yeah.
we cut it short. He was going, Mom, where are we? We're in Montana. We were in Montana before. I know, we're still in Montana. We're still in Montana. And then I saw the sign for the North Dakota border. And I said, okay, 8 more miles. We're going to be in North Dakota. He's like, yes, no more Montana. So we're cruising along. I'm like, we crossed into North Dakota. And he's like, woohoo. And he's just happy and celebrating. And about 10 minutes later, he goes, Mom, North Dakota looks a lot like Montana. He
Oh,
was
bless him.
absolutely correct. Anyway, so that's my cute kid story. But yeah, it was it's a long trip, but somehow 11 hours disappeared on that one trip, and I have no idea how. Or I'm
Whoa,
sorry, 6 hours disappeared. It was 11 hours. Yeah,
that's crazy.
I know.
The only thing
Well,
I could maybe suggest is perhaps you listen to a couple of Pink Floyd albums along the way there, and that's taken you into an alternate reality.
I think we were actually listening to Jimmy Buffett. Like I had this
Oh, there's an artist that I've never
set.
heard of.
You've never heard of Jimmy Buffett?
No, never.
All right, I'm sending you some links.
Okay. Okay. Look forward to it.
All right, tell me about your time skips.
Time skips for me. I don't know whether this is because, like we were saying earlier, when we enjoy something, time seems to fly by. And when we're not, it drags, it slows down. But as you know, I'm a drummer and I've performed a lot all over the place. And a common theme that does occur is that I'm behind the kit. As I've said to you before, I put it out there to spirit because on some of the places I've been to, I've completely forgotten all of the set, and that's how my brain works sometimes at its best. And so I asked them for help. Can you channel through and perform this gig? And so I witnessed my arms and legs moving in time and playing quite a nice, tasty set, if I do say so myself. But it's not me doing it; it's spirit. But when I'm in those moments, it's like it doesn't seem like, because we used to play nearly what 3.5 hour sets straight through, no toilet breaks, nothing, a
Wow.
full performance. And so we do that, and to most people that would drag, but it seemed like probably half an hour, 40 minutes when we was doing it. And so I don't know whether that is because we were all in sync with one another as a band. We was all enjoying it. We was allowing that energy to, project from us to the audience projecting their response back to us, that feeding sort of frenzy in terms of energy. I don't know why, but yeah, those 3.5 hours only seemed like 40 minutes. And that was nearly every other show that we did. Um, so where did that, I don't know, 2 hours and 20 minutes go?
Use your
Every
math
show.
brain. Use your math
I
brain.
haven't got a
Um,
maths brain. As I say, I was playing a concert when I was in maths class. I was playing
that's
Wembley Stadium.
Oh yeah, that's right. You didn't
That's
show up
why
to
I'm
math
no good at
class.
maths. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah, I agree. When we're having fun, we're really doing something that we enjoy. Time just flies by.
Mm.
Just flies by. It just goes really fast. And I don't know about you, but as we're getting older, I feel like time is moving faster. Like some days drag on, but the weeks and the months and the years
Oh,
are
the
flying by.
weeks. Honestly, I agree
Yeah.
with you. Only was it over the weekend I had to pinch myself to the realization, actually, we're 3 months in,
Yeah.
2025. Where did that go? Where did that go?
I don't have a clue. I don't know at all. Like, where did that go? Yeah, we're in March already. What? How? Like it? Yeah.
It's crazy. And I know, like, the beginning of the week, most people think, oh, Monday's here again. Woo.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, come on, go get them, Tiger. It's Monday. I really look
Yeah.
forward to it. And then I just take a breath. And the next minute, it's Thursday evening and I'm teaching class. And I'm like, hello? Where did those days go?
Wait. Let me look at my diary and see what I did this week. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
It goes crazy fast. Yeah.
But have you ever experienced where time stands still?
Let me think about that. I can't think of anything right off the top of my head, so I'm gonna let you go first.
Okay, just something off the top of my head then is this is many, many, many years ago when I was a young boy. And this is when I used to like playing soccer or football, as we would call it.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to play in goal because I didn't like the attention like the strikers would have. They were up front and center, and yeah, they were getting all the glory. I'm not like that as a person. So I enjoyed goaling. I enjoyed that stability of being in goal. So I used to watch the game at the back there and just wait for the ball coming my way and hope to hell that I saved it,
Right?
And some of
Yeah.
those saves, honestly, I remember making those dives. And initially, when you're training to do goalkeeping, you have to physically wreck yourself by diving on, frozen ground or
Mm-hmm.
muddy ground, and you hit on your rib cage, your arms, your shoulder, and that. But I remember doing some of those dives, and it's almost as if I was in slow motion. I'd pounce like a tiger in midair after the ball, and it would
Yeah.
seem like I was in mid-flight, anticipating catching this ball. And to me, that felt like time was standing still because it seemed like I was ages in there. Now, I don't know whether this is a chemical reaction in the brain or the body where that fight or flight mode kicks in, the adrenaline kicks in, and it kind of prepares you because the physical body is going to have some sort of trauma when it lands on the floor, that
Mm-hmm.
it puts a chemical in your mind that slows the experience down, or whether it is actually time doing that. I can't answer
Interesting.
that question, but that's
Yeah.
one of my examples. And I was probably about, last time I played football, probably about 10 or 11 years old. So
Okay.
going way back,
Way
way
back.
back.
We got in the Wayback Machine.
What about
um,
yourself? Have you come up with anything?
um, a car accident, actually,
Oh,
that I
okay.
was in. And it was, I was driving a van for a daycare center that I worked at. And I don't know if you guys get black ice in England, but
Yeah, yeah,
boy, we sure do get it here, especially at late winter or going into spring. We get black ice, and um, I was on a road where I was going straight, and there on one side of me, it's like you just keep going straight, but there's a road that came into like a T-shaped stop,
okay.
uh, and I like I said, I was driving the van. I had a couple of students in the van. They were buckled in and everything, so was I, but I saw this semi truck or what you guys would call like a lorry, I think it is, a big one of
Yeah,
those big 18-wheel trucks. And I saw him, well, I knew the mail was whatever. I saw the truck coming and it was sliding across the intersection and it hit a boulder on the other side that stopped it. But I was pressing on the brake and on ice, we were both on ice, and
wow.
in slow motion as I T-boned that truck. Like that's the thing that I remember. No one was seriously injured miraculously. I mean, I wasn't going fast, but it was like a slow motion kind of brace for impact sort of thing.
Whoa. So did
Yeah.
it write off the vehicle?
Um yeah, I mean it was we were both stopped at that point because
Okay.
he hit a boulder, a giant rock. So that caused some engines. So I don't know if it was antifreeze or whatever was dripping out of the truck. He couldn't drive it. They had to call in,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, tow trucks for both vehicles and all of that. But just as I was coming up to it, knowing I wasn't going to be able to stop, that it kind of hit that slow motion kind of time freeze sort of thing.
Whoa.
Yeah,
I'm so pleased nobody was injured during that,
yeah.
freak accident there. It's, I don't know, it's put that thought in my head, it was that time stopping or like my experience, could it have been the fight or flight mode, the adrenaline rush
It could have been. I have no idea. I don't.
preparing you for
Yeah,
impact, so to speak?
preparing you for impact. Yeah, but
Mm,
yeah,
that's beautiful. Beautiful, but scary.
yeah,
Obviously, I wouldn't want to experience that.
right.
Mm,
Thank goodness nobody was hurt. That's just all I keep saying. Because
definitely.
I had children in the van, and thank goodness they weren't hurt. So
Well, then you could have been charting up to 5 NDEs.
yeah,
Otherwise. Oh, bless
yeah.
you.
My boss almost had an NDE that day because she left me there with no transport back to work.
What?
Yeah, she came and got the kids and left me there.
Left you for
Yeah,
the bears.
the policeman was going, "Where's your boss?" I'm like, "She left." He's like, "She left you here?" She left.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
That's
So,
not very nice, is it? It's
yeah,
not
the police gave me
cricket.
a ride back to work.
Nice one. Got, ba- got back in style then.
Yeah. Got back in a cruiser. So, yeah. But
Now,
anyway, so that was my experience that I could think of with a time loop or like a slowing down of
yeah.
time.
And
Yeah.
isn't it weird? Isn't it weird? Because
Mhm.
everything, you're consciously aware of everything,
Right.
but it's like
You're
you're in
right
slow
there.
motion. It's so
Mhm.
strange.
It
So
is weird.
strange feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. That time standing still thing is weird. How about yeah, we had talked earlier, I think. I don't know if it was a different conversation, but uh, multiple simultaneous timelines.
I'm glad you said that because my dyslexic brain would have wrapped that around.
I
So
had to
thank
say
you.
it slowly. I had to say it slowly.
So, for everybody, including myself, who's listening to you saying that statement, what do you mean by that, Christina? Do tell us.
Well, it's when you're experiencing I think an example I can use for me is that I have the ability to bilocate. So I can go into a meditation and
Yeah.
project my image to somewhere else and watch something going on somewhere else.
Oh, remote viewing. Is that what you're
Remote
referring
viewing.
to? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So remote viewing, it's like then I'm experiencing where I am physically and where I am, which is kind of what you did in math class.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't get paid for that performance, which, could have set me up for life, basically, but
I
it
know,
didn't.
right? But it didn't.
No.
When you were what, 13, 14, 15?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I like that. Right. So thank you for
Mm-hmm.
taking that one for the team and explaining that to the listeners there. And so have you an example of, you said that you can be in two different places at the same time. You got an
Yeah,
example of that you could share with the listeners?
I do. I do. I have a friend who lives in a different part of the world and works on a boat.
Yeah.
And we had been texting, and I'm like, well, I want to see where you work. So, I don't do any of the esoteric stuff or the energy stuff without permission. So, of course, I asked permission to go there. And so I projected myself based on that person's energy. I just focused on that person's energy and went to where they were. And I found myself on a boat in the sea
Wow.
and looking around. And when I materialized, so to speak, uh, I was on one of those narrow metal staircases, that are on boats.
Yeah.
And I walked right through somebody who it wasn't the same person I was talking to, but this other person, I walked right through this poor person. And later my friend told me that one of his shipmates had said that he felt like there was like bugs or something, and he kept trying to like slap mosquitoes that weren't there because that's how he experienced me walking through him. Like he got a chill and then just like, what is that? Like, yeah.
Whoa.
So that was interesting.
Just a bit to get that
Yeah.
feedback as it was happening in that,
Right.
other location there.
Right.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
I
That
wouldn't
that was
necessarily
interesting.
describe you as a bug, though. That's a
No.
bit
Well,
unkind,
thank you.
isn't
I
it?
appreciate that. I appreciate not being described as a bug. Thank you.
No, although you are wearing a yellow sweater, so you could be
Yes.
considered to be bee-like or
I could be bee
wasp-like.
like. No,
Yeah.
no, not wasp like. I'm not wasp like.
That is brilliant example. And to get your
Yeah.
friend there, for you to tell her what was happening, for her to tell you what was happening whilst you was there, that's
Yeah.
amazing evidence. Amazing
Right. And I
evidence.
was able to see what they were seeing. They were offshore, so they could see ashore, and I could describe the shoreline that I saw.
Whoa.
So there was like confirmation both ways. Yeah.
What a skill. Tremendous.
It does take some concentration.
Yeah, to hold that link, that energy
Yeah.
in two locations. But they say that,
Mhm.
as this show would suggest, what's time got to do with it? Apparently,
Right.
there is no time. Everything is happening now,
Yep.
and you just zoned in to that other version of now in the
Right.
now.
Right. Exactly.
Is an
Exactly.
amazing gift. So, I mean, if you're okay, I'd like to share a bit of an
Yes.
example relating to this. I wasn't
Please.
consciously aware like yourself, that this was happening. But apparently, many, many years ago, I used to go to this center that helped people to get back into the work environment. Let's put it that way. And one of the coaches there, it was after the weekend, and we was exchanging pleasantries, and he was saying, "Oh, did you have a good weekend?" He says, "Oh, by the way, you're an ignorant bleeder, aren't you?" And I says, "You are? Why? Why? What's up?" He says, "I saw you on Saturday, and you was walking up." He described the location. I knew it well, but it's not a place that I would frequent, And he says, "Yeah, I was shouting to you. I was saying, 'Are you all right? How are you doing? Are you having a good weekend?'" And he said, "You had this big white dog with you." I says, "White dog? I don't think so. I don't own a dog. I haven't had a dog since I was a, young child. I don't own a dog." "No," he says, "it was you because I spoke to you." And I says, "Are you all right? You having a good weekend?" And I was like, no, no, it wasn't me. It certainly wasn't me. I wasn't in the area. I was out the area that day. I was playing a gig with the band. I was at this location. It wasn't me at all. But, he was a professional person. He wasn't the village idiot. So, I trusted what he was saying to me. And he wasn't a wind up merchant either. So I just found that fascinating that he would have, put money on it, that he saw me, he spoke to me. I was walking this dog. So potentially, was it me? Was it an alternative version of me living a different lifestyle than what I was focusing my time and attention on? Could it have been that? Different timeline playing it out? Could it be that I have a doppelganger in my local area?
Could be.
If I'd have known of that, they could have got me out of serious trouble many, many times in my life. But no, I don't know. But then again, they say, because I shave my head, skins in, baby, and all of that. Uh, we can all look the same, can't we? As shaved headed men. So was it a case of that? But no, he said, no, it was definitely you, because he had your walk. He was wearing the sort of clothes that you would wear. And I was like, oh, no, sorry, I
Interesting.
wasn't there. Wasn't
Yeah.
there.
I had a doppelganger when I was in college,
Oh,
and
do
people
tell.
kept calling me Lisa. And
Okay.
it was a small college. It was a community college. It wasn't like one of these universities. But 2 years in, I finally meet Lisa, and we kind of came around the corner and saw each other and went, "You must be." And she said my name, and I said her name at the same time because apparently other people were calling her my name. So yeah, that was interesting. Just
Ooh, very
yeah,
good.
I
I
actually got to meet her, so that was cool.
I do like that. I do like that. You actually
Hmm.
got to meet the person as well.
Yeah.
You should have exchanged phone numbers, and then you could have had like time off college. Each one
There
of you
you go.
covered.
Very different majors, as it turned out. So she was studying a very different line of work than I was. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay. One final thing, because
yeah,
time being
is
the
running
case,
out.
it is indeed. And there was
Yes.
one interesting concept that we spoke about when we put this
Yeah.
show together was about, you mentioned Einstein time not having any clocks and listening to the body clock and the intuitive hits. So
Yes.
when we're hungry, we eat. When we're inspired, we work. And when we're embracing nature, our true nature, our imagination flourishes. So,
Right.
what's how do you feel about that? Is that something that you could
I,
adopt?
I pretty much live my life that way. I really, I mean, except for events, or when I have something, on my calendar,
Hmm.
I pretty much live my life that way. I eat when I'm hungry, I sleep when I'm tired, and I work when I'm inspired. So,
It's a good way to
yeah,
be, isn't it? In synchronization with your energy, your timeline.
it's really like you were saying earlier, it's like being um, it's the same vibration. You didn't use synchronization, you used a different word, but I don't remember what it was.
Okay.
But yeah, like being in alignment. Yeah.
Yeah.
Being in alignment with your true self and with your higher self and with, the world around you is it's really when you can live that way and not have to be to work at 9 and end at 5 and
Yeah.
if you can live that way, and some people don't have it in them to live that way, but I do, so I enjoy living that way.
Well, on some level, I am grateful for small mercies with time because
Hmm.
obviously we're crossing two time zones. And if
Yes,
we weren't flexible and working with the concept of time, we wouldn't be able to have these conversations, would we?
that's absolutely correct. Yes,
So it swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
it does.
Pick
It
your
does.
potato, as they say.
Yeah.
So, Christina, it's been a pleasure as always to dive deep with you. So,
Thank you,
I want
likewise.
to give you the floor now to let people know if they want to book in with any of your services or how they can connect with you. Please do share that with the audience.
Yes, absolutely. You can connect with me through my website, KristinaBloom.com. That's Kristina with a K, Bloom with 2 O's. And I have a calendar on there, a scheduler, where you can request an appointment. And then I email back a confirmation, or let's try a different time. I don't have regular office hours, speaking of time.
Obviously.
So, yeah, just go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you can find me on social media let's see, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky, I think. Yeah.
Wow, it sounds like you're taking over the cyberspace with all of that.
And YouTube. I'm on YouTube.
Of course you are.
Yes, I have 3 YouTube shows. So, Paramystic Kristina,
Yeah.
Breakfast with Bobby, and Red Road Paranormal.
Excellent. That's brilliant. Thank you, Kristina.
Thank
Well, as
you.
ever, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk turkey with you today. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and
So
I
have
look
I.
forward to our next one. Who knows what weird and wonderful subjects we're going to cover in our next gathering.
Yes, yes. And if anyone has suggestions, please let us know. If
Definitely.
there's a topic you want to hear about, let us know.
We'll try our best. As long as it doesn't involve research, we're good.
Or math.
Or math. Yeah. All right, Kristina,
Awesome.
you take care.
You
and
too.
I look forward
Thank
to
you.
seeing you soon. As ever, a wonderful connection and communication there with Kristina Bloom. We always have lots of fun and interactions with our deep dive conversations. Well, we're going to be moving into the next segment of the show, which is this week's forecast reading. But slightly ahead of doing that, I'd like to check in with you all, see if you're all doing well and if you've had a wonderful week. I've certainly been blessed with doing a paranormal event at the weekend, and absolutely loved it. I got to see some amazing parts of the British countryside as well on the drive down, and it was I would say food for the soul, so to speak. Just seeing those rolling hills and those valleys and those rivers were brilliant. Not to mention the guests that were at the paranormal event there. Beautiful people, very curious souls, very interested in obviously all things paranormal and spiritual. And it was nice to spend time with people like that there as well. And also the location itself had quite a lot of activity, and we made some wonderful connections with some of the spirits that were there. So that was very interesting in of itself. And anybody that hasn't gone on a paranormal event, an organized one, then I would certainly encourage you to do so and just have that open mind, because I feel as though on some level you will encounter some sort of interaction with the world of the unseen. Whether you're a skeptic or whether you're a believer, I feel as though on some level you'll have that connection. So that's what I've been up to over the past weekend, and it's definitely made me feel a lot chipper by doing that. Anyway, as I say, we're going to move into this week's forecast reading. So hopefully this will help you navigate your way through the twists and turns of this week ahead. Now, please feel free to take some notes so that you can assess it against your day-to-day life in this week. But sit back now, relax, and enjoy this week's forecast reading. Hello, my name is Glenn Boddice and I'm a spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's energy forecast reading for the week commencing Monday the 31st of March 2025. Now, those of you that have watched me work before will know that I connect with my spirit guides and helpers and also consult the wisdom of the angel tarot card. So what I'm about to do is just shuffle the pack and allow a card to come out for this week's energy forecast reading. So here is your card for this week's reading. I'm now going to link into the vibration of that. First of all, I feel as though there's some significant changes within your week of this week, because I feel as though you're going to have a eureka moment. And this is because you've been working so hard and you've been pushing and striving so hard. In actual fact, the answers to and the solutions to your problems are a lot easier. And they're going to come in a lot easier for you. And you're just going to think, why didn't I do that sooner? And I want to say that you didn't do it sooner because it wasn't of its time. Now is the right time, and you're coming into alignment in doing the projects that you're interested in, connections with people, with friends, with associates. And I just feel as though things are going to start to come together for you this week. I also sense, though, there's a lot of sensitivity around you this week, and you'll be irritated by the slightest of things, including food and drink, that will cause some sort of reaction within you where you're a little bit sensitive, and maybe you'll have to go to the loo several times in order to process this without sounding too gross. But I do feel as though there's this level of sensitivity. Also, with me saying this, I feel as though there's this air of telepathy that's going to be kicking into you. And what I mean by that is you'll be picking up on other people's thought vibrations. And you'll be having experiences where you think about somebody and the next minute they will text or they will call you or message you in some way, shape or form. So do watch out for that this week. You'll be heavily on somebody's mind as well, I feel, those of you that are watching this. And they'll be processing you in their mind. And there's this level of shall I, shan't I, that is spinning round their mind. So do watch out for that. This could be in connection with contacting you or reaching out to you or opening up to you. Either one of those things, I feel this week you will experience that. I'm also sensing that this week music will play a very strong part in your life. And what I mean by that is by listening to music, it's going to help you to uplift your energy. It's going to put you in the right vibration, the right mood, and it's going to put a spring in your step, make you feel more happy, and it's going to heal you as well. There's something about the weather changing this week, and those different vibrations in the atmosphere are also going to lead to you feeling a lot better and feeling free, feeling confident, and wanting to try something new. And when I say that, I feel as though adventures, so wanting to go to different locations and explore, get to know different people, and just have a general change of scenery, because I feel as though a lot of you that are watching this have been cooped up indoors and you've been head down to the grindstone, knuckling down with work and life, and that work-life balance hasn't been balanced. And I feel this week will be the start of the process where you start to focus on your life and doing the things that you enjoy. Obviously, we all need the finances, we need the financial support there, but it's about getting that balance so that you get to experience and celebrate all of your hard work by going to different locations and just having more fun. This week we'll also see, I'm hearing a close friend confiding in you. So with this being the case, you've got to be very professional in the fact that you don't spread those communications and share those intimate connections with anybody else this week, because they're trusting you to the max and you will be giving them a degree of healing by being that soundboard for them. So let's turn over the card and see what the card has to say to you. So at the top of the card, we have 8 of fire. So I'd like you to research the angel number of number 8, as I feel that is very significant. Also, to me, that indicates prosperity coming in, and also it indicates coming towards the end of a chapter in your life, making way and having those preparations to move into the next chapter of your life. So watch out for that. Fire to me indicates healing, indicates light, indicates passion as well, a new beginning. So do watch out for those elements coming into your life this week. So let's read what the card has to say at the bottom. And it says speed, activity, multitasking. What the card means by this, should I say, is I feel speed is talking about because the weather's changing, because you feel uplifted, you'll have more energy. And rather than being stuck in your mind thinking about, shall I do this, shall I do that, you'll have more efficiency where you just make that snap decision and you go for it and you're committed to it by doing that. As well, the activity is you actually moving on the energy that you're feeling rather than sitting on it and dwelling on it. And then multitasking is actually giving yourself permission that you can do this and you can do that. You haven't got to wait anymore. And if you've got to multitask and micromanage your life, then so be it, in order for you to get the deadlines met and also for you to get that work-life work-life balance back in alignment as well. So taking a look into the card, around the edge, we've got this colour of, to me, it's like an orange moving into red, and there's an element of brown there. So orange is talking about vitality, I feel, and tapping into your energy reserves. Red is talking about passion. It's also talking about grounding your energies and balancing your energies out as well. Also, it's telling you to stop for reflection so that you can look before you leap as well. And brown to me is talking about grounding, getting out and about more in nature, discovering new areas of interest, and just expanding your consciousness by doing that. So taking a look into the artwork of the card, as you can probably imagine, we have 8 of these wands that are flying about. So to me, wands are talking about magic. They're talking about manifesting, and it's talking about utilizing your own magic and recognizing that. And when you realize that you've had the tools within you all along, your life is going to change very dramatically in a positive direction. Also, this is talking about that you have lots of opportunity, and the world is your oyster, and it's going to open up to you more this week. And you'll think, well, why didn't I see that before? And like we said earlier, it's because you wasn't ready to see it. Everything's coming into alignment, more so now this week than ever this year. Also, it's talking about, I feel as though, looking within, doing some internal work. Stop second guessing yourself, do the internal work, and actually honor that sacred self and get to know you more, your likes, your dislikes. Because this week you will be challenged, you will be set a challenge where you have to move beyond your comfort zones in order to attain your objectives, in order for you to obtain the abundance that is rightfully yours there as well. And to me, the staffs indicate, I feel as though, support. There's a support network around you, so don't go it alone. If you feel that you need any encouragement, any help, any guidance or support, then ask. All you've got to do is ask. You do so much for everybody else. Now's the time for you to ask and then receive when that beautiful help and assistance is granted to you. So stop pushing and striving ahead alone. It's a team effort, and just recognize that as well. And there's something about looking a change in the stars there for you, and maybe you're coming into alignment more so this week. So that's what we've got for you. Thank you for hearting, liking, commenting and sharing. If you've enjoyed this reading and you would like to help and support the work that I do, I have got a Buy Me a Coffee link either above or below this video. And this is a virtual tip jar, so all of your generous donations will be gratefully received and appreciated. If you'd like to book in with me for a one-to-one reading or any other of my services, then you can find a link above this video or in the link in the bio, or go over to my website www.glenboddicespiritualmedium.com and book in directly with me there. Join me every Monday with my radio show From Beyond with Glenn Boddice, talking about all things spiritual, paranormal and self-help, and that is on all of my social media platforms and my website. And this is at 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on all of those things. So have a fantastic week, everybody. God bless, and bye for now.
Well, it certainly sounds like we're all set for a very intriguing week this week, doesn't it? And I don't know about anybody else, but it's time to get the shorts out of hibernation and put those T-shirts on and the shades there, as this weather is slightly improving in the UK. So I'm very chipper in itself. Anyway, if you have any show suggestions, or if you have any questions to the show, please contact me by heading over to www.glenboddicespiritualmedium.com, or you can email me at glenboddice@live.co.uk. It will be wonderful to hear from you, and also answer the questions that are rattling around your mind. So whatever it is you're doing this week, have a fabulous week, and you can join in with me next Monday, 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, on all of my social networks and my website. Take care, everybody. God bless, and bye for now.
Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium